They won the MLS back tournament. Is that right? The League's Cup, whatever that is.
So, in other words, they have been a competitive team, but their trophy case is still empty.
Yeah. I'm not. Yeah.
I mean, kudos to all those Philly fans that have had a lot of patience with Jim Curtin, but it's not necessarily, maybe this year might be the year,
Right.
Especially the way they're playing.
Well, who would you rather have right now, Jim Curtin or Peter Vermees?
Well, I mean, do you really think as Fire fans we'll be able to put up with Jim Curtin for him to figure it out for the first few seasons?
But that's the thing, he's already figured it out. We're getting a coach that isn't Ezra, where he's trying to figure it out. We got a coach who's figured it out in most part, and now he's got to put the last few pieces together to get that MLS Cup. Caleb Porter's a coach that's put it together a few times on a few different clubs. So I mean, it's like we can't say that just because he hasn't won it all. I'm not ready to put to rule Jim Curtin out.
I mean, I wouldn't.
But the amount of time afforded to him is the question here, right?
Yeah. So like, if it took Jim Curtin 8 years to get one trophy, I mean, I don't know how many. Has it been 8 years since he took over Philly?
I think it's been 8 years since Peter Vermees has gotten a trophy for Kansas City. At what point do they move on? So
yeah, you can look at you can either look at the cup half full or half empty, but
right.
It's one of those things where how do you want to set this team up? Do you want to set up for long-term success, or do you want it for a one-hit wonder? I honestly think you get more success from Peter Vermees than Jim Curtin.
Look at what these teams have been for Chicago Fire. They've all just been one-hit wonders. There's been no consistent success, and that's the problem. We have nothing to look forward to for next season. We've got DPs that are either too old or too expensive and that don't fit with the rest of the team, or if they do, they might be leaving. It's just so many unknowns, and still we have a coach who's a college level coach, a USL level assistant, MLS assistant coach. He's still not an MLS head coach. He's becoming one before our eyes, and the question is, can we keep affording the man time to do so, to develop? It's gonna happen whether we like it or not. I think we're in store for a second season of Ezra and Garrick Heights next year, barring a miracle.
That is you know what. I don't even want to think about it.
Even though the coach for Houston just got fired for similar results.
And the thing about the coach for Houston is that him and Ezra started around the same time.
Well,
and at least
that's a club with ambition, DPG.
They finally figured out, hey, this coach is not working out for us. Let's get rid of him.
They've made so many more moves than Chicago Fire to try and catch up. But here's the thing: we're falling down a waterfall in slow motion. And we're like in this canoe trying to paddle back up. And even that team that we were just talking about is just still a little bit farther ahead of the Chicago Fire. A little closer to the goal of winning an MLS Cup than we are. Because we are just that far behind the 8 ball.
Yeah, we are.
Look at where the fans are. Look at where the fans aren't. The seats. Meanwhile, there's clubs like Charlotte. There's old clubs like Seattle, old clubs that can get people in the seats. Why is Chicago struggling for interest in one of its most popular sports in Chicago?
Yeah, I mean, you look around the league, you look at teams like LA Galaxy, LAFC, teams like New York NYFC. I don't want to add Charlotte to the group yet because this is their first year, and people are excited for expansion teams. But you look around the league look around the league for teams that have been around for a couple of years, and their fan base has either grown, or or it has people they're more widely known.
I don't know what other teams' fan base is actively shrinking as fast as Chicago. Not even San Jose. I got raptor noises.
I'm sorry about that. Yeah, it's like, I'm outside.
No, it's great. I thought it was a raptor.
So
it's beautiful. Right. Enjoy the summer still. It's like the last few days, right?
Yeah. But it's like this. It's how was Section 8 back 10 years ago? In terms of fan following, fan base, you had a lot more supporter groups.
There were people more involved. There was more hope. It's because the hopium, the tent, it's like out of service, and it's not serving Chicago anymore. And so like everybody else is just existing off their existing levels of hopium. And some of us just have higher levels than others, and so we're still here, and others have left and gone away and moved over to the Cubs or to the Blackhawks or to freaking softball or to lacrosse or to the Wolves. Or to baseball. It's just Chicago Fire are not rewarding us, the fans, in the ways, in the minimum ways that we need to be rewarded in to make it feel fun and worth our while to engage with their product, because it's a product, their product. That we're like, we used to like to deal with this. We really used to like to play with this toy. But this toy is if you looked at this toy, it would look like it was made in a third world country. Meanwhile, you look at the toys from LAFC. It looks like it was made by Apple. Meanwhile, you look at for the toys made by NYCFC, it looks like it was made by
Samsung or something.
Samsung. Meanwhile, you look at the stuff made by Seattle. It looks like stuff made by Microsoft. And then I'm sorry, no wait. And I said LAFC looks like what? I take my LAFC Apple. From Apple. That's LA Galaxy. That's maybe that's or Toronto. Maybe Toronto's Galaxy. I'm sorry. Toronto is that company. What I just Apple. And then finally LAFC. Tesla.
Yeah,
I mean, and while Chicago Fire is, what is Chicago Fire in that scenario?
I'm gonna put it like this:
Spirit Airlines.
Yeah, you know what? And not only that, but if you look around,
well, Spirit Airlines you actually need though, DPG. Like,
yeah.
LA Tan. I don't know.
But there was a point. There was a point where other supporter groups used to come and talk to the people at Section 8 or the different supporter groups of the Fire to kind of get help on how to start their supporter groups, how to get tifos up and going and all that stuff. This was back years ago. This was back, I want to say 10, 15 years ago. Now you look at the supporter section for the Fire, you don't have those individual supporter groups that you had 10, 15 years ago. Now it's maybe just a big cluster of fans. I think the only ones that might be active is like Sector Latino and their music band, and that's about it. There's no, at one point I remember they used to have Huseria. They used to have, some firemen or some fire-based supporter group, and they had different supporter groups. You could literally pick one and be a part of it and feel like you were part of a group. Now you don't feel that. And it's more or less, there's no cohesion in the supporter group. There's no, unity. A lot of times there's bickering between whatever factions of supporter groups are still around.
There's a reason for that, DPG. That's much more interesting than the club at this point, and it has been for the last 8 years. All the drama is just so much more interesting than anything the club has had on offer for the last 8 years, and they've had Bastian Schweinsteiger on offer, and it just didn't work. And yet, seemingly somehow, the drama, the backroom drama for the flare wielders and the horn blowers and the rah-rahs and Section 8 and all the fan groups, it's more important that. Than focusing on Don Garber, on the reasons for the Chicago Fire suffering. Don Garber, Georg Heitz, Nelson Rodriguez. The mistakes of Joe Mansueto as a decision maker. They're mistakes, Joe. You gotta fix them.
There are mistakes. Yep. You hired the wrong people, Joe.
You can fix it. Not saying
you hired
You
hired a guy that literally took your bag full of money and tossed it in a garbage can and lit it on fire. That's all. That's all you did. That's all you. That's the person you hired. A guy that literally took a garbage bag full of money, of your money, hard-earned money, and just threw it in a garbage can and lit it on fire and walked away.
And the other, but he's just not done good enough. Slowday saying Chicago Fire is BlackBerry. it's BlackBerry.
I was gonna say we're more like Nokia.
Nokia.
We're still stuck in the late 90s.
Yikes! I mean, cellular one.
Singular, whatever.
Singular.
But you think about that, and it's like there's no organization within the supporter groups. There's no plan from your current GM. The head coach is literally learning on the job.
There's no hope. There's nothing to be hopeful for. We're sitting here waffling once again in Hopelessville, and it's for the 11th year, and they expect us to be like, yeah, let's rekindle our love for the Fire, pick it up for next year, and get ready for exciting for next year. It's like, what is there to be hopeful for when it's 2 decades of disappointment? What are we supposed to think that's going to keep coming after 20 years of nothing, of bad?
And if there's still people that are hopeful for next year's rebuild and getting new DPs, well, I hate to break it to you, but we're stuck with these DPs for a few years.
We're stuck with all 3 of them.
Yep. I think Shaqiri's contract's not up for another 2 years. I don't know what the renewal is for Gaston, maybe another 2 years. Jairo Torres is on the 2-3 year contract. So unless the Fire can make moves to get rid of them, they're stuck with them.
DPG, is it as dreary as we paint this picture to be? Is there a way next season that these very same 3 DPGs become salvageable? Jairo Torres could pan out, but definitely I think that's the most likely situation of the 3.
I think out of all those guys, probably Jairo Torres is the only one that I could see like having like, an awakening, a renaissance season. But I don't see anything from Gaston Jimenez. I definitely don't see anything from Shaqiri, because he's gonna be back from the World Cup. He's not gonna give a shit bus except to collect the check. And it makes you wonder, hey, can we move Shaqiri to Lugano? Can we throw him?
He's interested. DPG, I have it on his own word. He's interested. We've heard him say in the last month and a half in an interview, MLS is not like Europe, and it basically sounded like he's already thinking about going back to Europe because it's different here.
Yeah, I mean, it's different because he actually has to work.
He's got to work so much harder than he has to do in Europe. In Europe, he doesn't have to run nearly as hard. And
it's like this. It's like he could be in a team. Like if you look back throughout his career, he's been involved with some great teams. I think his best time alone where he was able to do his own magic was Stoke City. After that,
didn't he do something at Southampton, or am I thinking something else?
After that, he went to Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich is always a stacked team. You don't even have to be the best player in that team to look good. One key pass and you're basically on the cover of ESPN website. Same thing with Liverpool. That team is stacked. You give a guy, you score 1 goal, and all of a sudden you're an all-star. So he's been around successful teams, and maybe these successful teams have really hit his attributes as a player. Both with with his attitude and his work ethic. Because that kind of starts to show a little bit when he was playing for Marseille. Or I'm sorry, not Marseille, Lyon. It started to show through that he wasn't that player that people thought they were getting that played in Bayern Munich or Liverpool. And now we're seeing a lot more of that with the Fire. Like, he doesn't care about the Fire.
So they're saying that Gaston's going to be here at least through 2023, and he thinks that Shaq will be more committed when the World Cup is over. He's hopeful. Slowdays is hopeful for that.
Here's the thing about Shaq. He's so injury prone that even if he became committed and he actually had 1 good game, he'll probably sit out the next 5 because he's hurt.
I gotta say, I hope, I can see the possibility that this being a World Cup year, he is treating it differently. That maybe this is not his last year of playing. that maybe he's still got competitive fire in him, and that he is just trying to make sure he gets there to the World Cup. And yes, he is using Chicago Fire in order to accomplish that. But I do see the possibility of, once disengaged with the World Cup, once removed from it, he's going to go, and maybe next year could be he'll think about and treat MLS as his swan song, and maybe give it his all, because we have seen a competitive Shaqiri. We have seen a competitive spirit within the man.
We saw that at the beginning of the season.
He absolutely has it, and we've seen it in flashes. It's just, you got to cultivate it somehow, and I don't know if you have the coach here that is able to cultivate it. And that said, what coach besides the coach at Stoke City was really able to truly cultivate it out of Shaqiri, besides the other one at Basel?
You know, the thing about Shaqiri is that you need to have the right coach that's going to light a fire in him. And I don't think Ezra's the guy for that. You need a coach that's going to be a little bit of a hard ass. You know, make him run on the training ground. Make him run on the field. You know, make him hustle.
Oh my God, he's 30 years old, DPG. We're treating this guy like he's 31. He's 30 years old, and this is the effort we're getting out of him?
Yeah. We're getting the effort of a guy that's already, you know, about to retire next year. That's the effort we're getting.
This guy was born in the 90s, and he's all right. I was more forgivable when I thought he was born in the 80s, because I thought, oh, he's 32, he's old, he's getting up there. 31, 32, you know, it's right around the where you're exiting your prime as an athlete. He's still supposed to have at least a year left of his prime. DPG, what the fuck is going on?
He's supposed to have at least another good 5 years before he's like already. To,
but he doesn't have the body type, does he?
Yeah, a lot of people were saying those were muscles. That doesn't look like muscles. That look like
muscles from eating cheeseburgers.
Yeah.
And Giordano's pizza.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, somebody's like, oh yeah, he's all muscular. That's why they call him the Q. I'm like, I wouldn't take that as a compliment. You know, we've seen what muscles look like, and that's not muscle. That's just a fat guy with muscles.
And as critical as we are being of him, but DPG pointed out that he most of these injuries do seem to be precautions. He's just not trying to take any chances with that World Cup on the line, which, once again, we could say is somewhat forgivable, but it's also, that's how he's treating this club. It's a doormat to the World Cup. Are any other players out there treating their club like a doormat for the World Cup?
Yep. And that's the issue we're getting with Shaqiri, is that,
I mean, he's literally wiping his dirt off in front of Ezra's face on Chicago Fire's emblem on the mud thing, on the mud flap, DPG. And he's just wiping it in there, staring DPG in the face while me and Ezra in the face while he does it.
Yeah.
And then he goes out and then covers himself in a World Cup towel and to douse and replace his sweat, take away his sweat. And that's annoying on one hand. It's hard to deal with on one hand, because we're like, hey, we thought we were trying to make the playoffs here and, you know, compete.
Yeah.
But he's got other plans, which, like I said, I mean, he's got to take care of Shaqiri, but whose fault it is that brought in Shaqiri?
Heights.
Who brought in Heights? Joe Mansueto. Yeah. Who brought in Joe Mansueto? Nelson Rodriguez. Who brought in Nelson Rodriguez?
And
Don Garber.
I actually got to step outside for a sec. I'll see if I can try to hop back in, okay?
No worries. Do what you got to do.
All right, thanks.
But it all comes back to Don Garber, chat. All right, let's get into this, chat. Thanks for watching here on Spitfire. Greatly appreciate you guys. Kick that like button. Comment below if you're watching after the fact. Love to read your guys' comments to see what you guys think needs to change for Chicago Fire culture. I think they're going to bring in culture changers. I am fired up tonight, Angus. I'm going to have to get a new brewski here, too. I just had my last laser snake from 3 Floyds. I'm going to probably parlay up with a Coors Banquet. Yeah, tasty little Coors Banquet there. All right, chat. I want to ask you this next. Not this. I'm just going to quickly address this. Georgie going elsewhere. Chicago Fire are going to get some money. They're going to get a little bit of residuals from it, but still, Not nearly enough. Once again, another mistake from Garo Kites. Fuck him. Get him out. Chat from somebody from Reddit saying terrific performance. What hopium is he still smoke? He's still got stuff left in the reserves, guys. I was talking about that. Some fans still have much more left in the reserves than others, and they are not to be chastised. We must support them. We must support our gems, our precious few super Fire fans that are still able to not see the flaws of this club with rose-colored beyond the rose without these rose-colored glasses. But terrific performance in the tie game yesterday that leads to Chicago Fire not being able to catch up to the playoff race. Terrific performance. I gotta not blow smoke up his butt. We had to park the bus, but these could be 2 points that make Columbus miss the playoffs, and that alone is so sweet. It's so sweet. Connor hates that. Connor's not a big fan, nor is any of our other Columbus fans. We frustrated the hell out of them and Caleb Porter. We're very proud to see the team realize that we aren't playing the greatest. And if Caleb Porter gets fired as a result of this, bring him in. Get Ezra out. Bring Caleb Porter in, a proven MLS coach who has won MLS Cups at multiple stops. Don't know much about Garber, says Angus. Learned that he worked for the NFL. Once he said MLS has too much I almost just got sick. And I'm joking. I did not actually get sick. I'm joking about. Garber once said. He once said that MLS has too much soccer on TV. What the fuck is wrong with this guy? This is the guy that's leading MLS into the new age of Apple. We as Chicago Fire fans should be on a new tirade. We as MLS fans should demand more out of our GMN than what the fuck that guy just got out of Apple TV. Although I kind of like the Apple TV deal. For us the fans, it really is good for the fans, guys. For fans of MLS, the Apple TV deal is good on one hand. It's good because all the games are going to be on one fucking place. I'm going to be able to look up Bale and find him in the one place, and I'm not going to have to go find him on NBC or NBC Soccer or ESPN or the latest craze of the streaming stuff that's going on out there. Whatever the fuck is going on, I'm going to be able to watch on the one spot, Apple TV. I'm going to be able to see Gareth Bale there, not Christian Bale. I'll have to watch Batman for that movie. But Gareth Bale on LAFC, little Carlos Vela, maybe even a Leo Messi for Inter Miami next season on Apple TV. But terrific performance. Once again, pass it over here. Pass the Dutchie to your left. Pass the Dutchie to your left. We had to park the bus, and you're very proud to see the team realize that we weren't playing the greatest, so we need to play this way and eke something out on the counter. This is the culture. This is the culture of Chicago Fire. We're grasping onto this tie in the midst of a 13th place season. I commend thee. I love thee. That is insane, says Angus. He must be training to become a senior executive for FIFA. If he wants... Okay. Don't say the joke. Say the joke. Say the joke. Don't say the joke. If he wants... No, they're gassing me, guys. FIFA's gassing me. They're getting to me before I can get the joke out. I was gonna say, before the bribe, just gotta take a quick. He's probably already got enough practice taking bribes with all these cities that want MLS clubs. Oh, I feel good. Na 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 na. I don't know if that's true. Na 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 na. Oh, I feel good. Na 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 na. I know that I would now. Na 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 na. So good. So good. Just a second here. We're back. Terrific performance once again. roll that a little bit tighter and pass that this way. Okay, so we just don't have people like Akam and Frankowski Beasley to sit back and play on people on the break. Considering our defensively sound Ezra has made us, bravo Ezra, and all the coaching staff, so many clean sheets. That's all fucking Gago Slonina. Ezra is reliant upon the individual players and their subtle nuances that they bring to his team. I'm starting to realize that I don't really think he has a plan. His plan is put the guys out there, let them do what they do. And maybe that is the best plan you can have in MLS, and maybe he learned from the best, but he hasn't yet to employ what he has learned from the best to effective measures, and to the point where we are in virtually eliminated from a playoff spot. Angus McOrder updating us on the scoreline saying NYCFC uno, Cincinnati uno. And of course, Chicago Fire Cincinnati is better than the Fire. That's when I know something's wrong. But then again, we also live in a world where Cincinnati Bengals are better than the Bears. Have the Cincinnati Bengals been better than the Bears for the last 20 years? No, the Bears made it to a Super Bowl in 2007. They lost, but they didn't make it. Did Cincinnati? No, they didn't make it at all when they had the Red Rifle, who the Bears brought over and subjected us to the Red Rifle. That's how we are, Cincinnati! Chicago! No! I don't want it, chat. No. Get out. Gaga had a master class. Of course he's player of the year. I agree with you there. That's the... okay, so he's not... I mean, yeah, he's maybe smoking the opium, but dude's still a genius. He got player of the year circled. And it's definitely Gaga. Rafa is definitely up there too. Rafa Chicos. Our midfield beyond Federico needs... Our midfield needs work. Federico included. Yeah, there I said it. Yeah. Who the fuck cares? Dude, they fucking suck, guys. They're not good enough. I'm being brutal. I'm not being Greg Khan about it. 49ers beat guy. But Slonina is the reason Chicago's draws didn't become outright losses. Ezra has nothing to do with it. Slonina has everything to do with it. Literally. Chicos, Slonina, the main influences for those clean sheets and their ability to help bring up the players around him. Shaqiri, not responsible. All right. All right, calming down. But on to the next subject. Would Shaqiri work back next better to Federico? No! The dude doesn't run. Are you fucking kidding me? Wake up! Fire fans, where the fuck are your brains? Did you leave them in the water? On the water, see it swimming. Is it in Lake Michigan at a Pixies concert? Did you leave your brain swimming? Because guys, Shaqiri doesn't run. Dude trots, dude waddles, dude's a penguin. I've seen penguins in the movie Scamper the Penguin run faster. They were running away from a seal and orcas, and they were evading death, so absolutely they probably had to do so. But that is not beyond the point. I'm just being a little ridiculous now. Okay, let's reel it back in. So Federico is a top CDM in the league, hands down, no argument accepted. Let's put that to the test. Let's put that to the test. MLS stats. MLS stats. MLS stats. MLS stats. MLS stats. Let's look at Federico Navarro. Oh, let's see Navarro. Give me Navarro. He's on here. Look at that. Look at that. So Days is saying, hey, Spitting Fire. Federico Navarro is a top fucking CDM in this league. Even though he's on a last place Chicago Fire team. Look at these stats. I will agree with you here. Now, if we recall, I'm just going to bring up the past. We're going to talk a little bit. I'm going to have to get myself a new beer here in just a second here, chat. But if we look up the past and old Chicago Fire 2019. Not it. We're going there. Chicago Fire 2019. I just need to go see the players. And I need to see you, Francisco Calvo. So, stats don't mean squadouche in MLS sometimes, and Francisco Calvo is the case in point of that, because we all know dude sucks fucking donkey balls, shouldn't have been on our team. Great guy to have on your side and at a bar fight. But as far as a soccer team, also a great guy to have on your team, but not a great captain and not a great center back. Fired up? Yes, he was. Passionate? Absolutely. And a lot to like about him as a teammate, actually. Would be happy to have him as a teammate in some capacity, but relying him in a captain sense when he is not put in his place, he's a fucking Dennis Rodman. You need Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Luke Longley, Steve Kerr alone just to put Rodman in his place. You need those guys. Bill Wennington even needs there to help put Rodman in his place. And Calvo was a Rodman. Is Federico Rodman? No, he's so much different than that. And also, Calvo is not a Rodman in the way that Rodman is a GOAT of rebounding. What is Francisco Calvo the GOAT at? He's the GOAT at being fired up and getting red cards. Also, he's really good at getting offensive goals as a defender. Could give him that, right? We got to definitely give the credit where credit is due. But he's not the worm, for sure. So maybe not the greatest example there. But all the same, you've corrected me on Federico Navarro and shown to me, hey, maybe he is a top MLS CDM. Well, then I ask, well, what the hell happened? That the Fire are in like next to last place when this guy's played virtually every game for the Fire. He's played 26 games for them. He's played more games than most of the other players there, and yet this team with one of the best center defensive midfielders is not good enough. Wait, Spitting Fire. The Chicago Fire put up a lot of clean sheets. Yes, they did. It's because defense wasn't the issue. It was offense. Offense was the issue. Couldn't score goals. This team was the second lowest in MLS goals scored, still is. You don't need to look at the numbers to know that Bilkil and Shaqiri do not have a connection. Be right back, chat, while you ponder these numbers. So, rub a note down. Step out. Show me what you all about. Fingers in your mouth. Open up your blouse. Pull your D-string down south. Bounce. In the parking lot. In the Cherokee. Drop sky. All right, shut up. Put the Biggie Smalls on the shelf. One player doesn't win games. Ask Argentina, says Slow Days, and it's so true. It's so true. It's slow true, Slow Days. One player does not win a team, and that's the crazy thing about Argentina is they got good players in other positions. They're not just Emilio Messi. They had Sergio Aguero. They had other players. Gonzalo Higuain. Like they let's look at the Argentina national team now. Let's see what they look like today. This is probably their closest representation. Lautaro Martinez, right? Lautaro, Leo Messi. I thought Lautaro was kind of like a winger, and they got him up at striker. Angel G. Maria still relying on him and Messi. Lo Celso, Rodrigo De Paul, Paredes, Leon Paredes, Leandro Paredes, Mateo Romero Otamendi, Acuna. Where is Otamendi? Oh, he's on Benfica. That would have been a good player. That was a good player for a while, Otamendi. And Emiliano Martinez playing for Aston Villa. Chat. Get this.